Good morning, how are you? It's already the 10th day of January, which is crazy. We're like 1/3 through the challenge already, which is weird to think about because it really seems like it still is a very long time. Did I do the one thing yesterday? I did not. Unfortunately, I'm slipping into this pattern of getting tired later in the day, needing to lie down, but like waiting. Even like in the afternoon, I can already feel that I need a lie down, and like fatigue is creeping up on me. But I don't. I keep working, and then it's later. It's in the evening, and like the risk is much worse that I will just fall asleep and not get up anymore. That's what happened yesterday. I was in the middle of packing. I felt the need to lie down. I did. I fell asleep. I never did the award ceremony for yesterday yet. I still have to do that. I'm sorry, Leah and Cynthia. This keeps happening. I really need to find a solution. So that I don't slip into worse fatigue, because also today I woke up with some interesting symptoms. Nothing crazy, but I know what the warning signs are. And also like exam season is coming up. I cannot afford to be terribly fatigued, so I need to get on that. That's gonna happen after I move. Today is the day. Thankfully, a classmate offered her help with the car, which is nice because otherwise I would have just, dragged my heavy luggage over there on like at least one trip. And like it's hilly where I live, so it's also like up an incline. I didn't really want to do a big intro like that, but so yeah, I didn't shower yesterday. As you might be able to observe, I'm still in the same clothes as yesterday, so I'm gonna shower after we speak. Now the other thing is whether or not I wrote, which now arguably, like for the weekend, the showering at night is not as important because the time frame for my showers and everything isn't as narrow, so I guess it's fine. But yeah, did I write today? I did, and there were even still people in the sprint channel, which is wonderful because I don't know how rigorously I would have made myself sit down and write, to be honest, for the first sprint. So yesterday I had an idea for an additional prompt, but like for this channel we already have 31 prompts. There's really no room for anything else. But yeah, the prompt was to write the dedication to the book that you're writing. Like imagine what would go on this page once your book is published, both in that sense, but like also like whose heart are you thinking of, as you're writing the book. And like the dedication can be to yourself or anything. I worked on that dedication for the first sprint instead of drafting, totally avoiding 100%. But yeah, I did write a dedication. I think it's really cute. It's not very specific. It's not like to a specific person. It's more to young people who are inheriting this world that is so messed up. Yeah, I tweaked the words endlessly. I think I now have it the way I wanted to. I'm not going to read it out just now because it feels very personal and it might also not be finished yet. After that, I did another sprint and I finally made myself sit down and write and draft in the work in progress of this week, which is Sunken Timepiece, which is a mermaid pirate time travel book. It makes sense together. You have to trust me in that. It wasn't terrible like as I was writing, and even though I was kind of glad that the sprint was ending, I also could see myself writing again tomorrow, which is really good. I think we've been yapping enough. It's time for today's prompt. Drawn from a hat. Are we ready? Here we go. In theory, I could attach this mic every time to me, to my clothes, and then I wouldn't have to do this one-handed, but there you go. What does it say? Ooh, okay, interesting. Take one character's arc and tell it in a blurb or the outline of a short story. I wrote this in this way because of how I had approached a short story that I sketched out for that workshop I had done with kids. So my example of a structure, but you don't have to go with that at all, is in 5 sentences. Beginning, first part, twist, second part, and end. Okay. Yeah, you'll have to give me a minute and I will come back. Okay, that took longer than I thought, and also is much more than just 5 sentences. So I chose the character whose POV I'm writing at the moment, the guard / warrior mermaid, Nua Nua. So this was interesting and not very easy because I don't have a very clear idea of how this story is going to unfold. And so I guess this is more than just the character arc in itself. I guess you could boil that down to one sentence also that just describes where the character is in her character arc. Let me read out what I have now. I feel like this gave me a little bit of clarity where the story is going, at least in some aspects. So for a beginning I wrote, Nua Nua wants desperately to find her twin, who had gone on an unsanctioned, dangerous mission to kill the King of Spain. She is holding fast to a message that had reached her from her twin, even though it's vague and doesn't prove she is still alive. Then the first part is, when a strange human girl who walks in dreams falls into her lap rather than the answering song of her sisters. She ignores her better judgment and decides that the girl was sent to her by the goddess to help her in her mission. With this argument, she convinces the council to approve her mission, even if it puts more mermaids in danger. For the twist, I wrote, Nua Nua recognizes that her twin's recklessness is nothing against her own. This is interesting because I hadn't thought that was an aspect in her character arc. So she recognizes that her twin's recklessness is nothing against her own, rather than dragging a handful of mermaids into a dangerous mission, but with a self-destruct plan firmly in place in case everything goes wrong. Nua Nua, with her unsteady song of hope, that's a thing that they do to bring in to existence a new generation of mermaids. It's a whole thing. She had brought Marta over from the future, and now this girl is proving destructive to the order of mermaid society and putting even more dangerous ideas into her twin's head. This is still quite vague. And then the second part, Nua Nua does everything in her power to bring her twin and the other sisters back to their waters before they can do unforeseeable damage and put themselves in mortal danger all over again. So they're still in Spain, blah blah blah. She's willing to use force and lie, even as it puts a wedge between her and her twin. But this also means that she herself gets more involved in the mission and gets a taste for the power that comes with meddling in others' affairs. Even though that had certainly never been her plan, this sets her on a good path to becoming one of the leaders of the new queendom she and her generation of mermaids will form after all of this is done. Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure on how this getting involved in the mission would look like, but I have an idea. And the end. Noa Noa witnesses her twin's sacrifice and understands why she had been willing to pay such a steep price for such an uncertain future. Noa Noa, in coordinated effort with Marta and some other mermaids, sees to it that the king's death isn't simply followed by another crowning. Then in the epilogue, basically, she decides to swim off with her best friend, who I have to bring into the story more, I think. I just wrote the fact that she has a best friend in the session that I wrote today. To live apart from the new formed kingdom for a while and do what she hadn't allowed herself this whole time, even as they had been reunited, grieve her sister. For from the beginning, her story could have only ended in this one way, and I will have to figure out why that is. This is like painting a little bit of a picture of what's going to happen in the story and what's going to happen specifically with Noa Noa, and I hope that this is going to help me when I draft some more in her POV tomorrow. The whole time I think she has been, maybe it's also that from the beginning maybe there's some kind of poisoning or curse going on in the originally when I came up with the story idea, there was supposed to be a curse. So maybe I can bring that back, just to make it clearer that the twin is going to die at the end. But like throughout the whole story, Noa Noa is like kind of fighting that fact. I don't know, maybe she's like stuck in the like, what is that stage? Like denial. Yeah, I think the curse makes a lot more sense, of the poison or whatever it is. And maybe that's like part of the twins' plan of bringing down the king. I have to think about that. That makes me think of, what's her name? What is her name? That's embarrassing. Genya. That makes me think a little bit of Genya, who killed, spoilers for Shadow and Bone. Spoilers for Shadow and Bone. That makes me think of Genya, who killed the king by poisoning her own body. Not in that direct sense, but I have to think. Let me jot that down. Okay, I like this. I feel like this gives me a little bit more clarity. That was that for today. We will see each other tomorrow. Let me know how your writing is going. I say this every time. I invite you to use these prompts also, and let me know how it went in the comments. But also no pressure. Do you have the one thing that you want to like do more of or less of that will help you get into a really good writing routine? And like, how strict are you with those rules? Because I feel like I'm cheating all over the place lately. I did write today, so that's something. Drafted freaking words. Okay, this is going to be long again. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, bye, 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 bye.